And good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. If you're in Atlanta or, somewhere in the Midwest, uh, it's time for Jackson Pigskins. This is Tom Pollen. Dave Holcomb is out today, playing hurt. Well, he's not even playing hurt. He's not playing. So, uh, bad case of the stomach flu, and just terrible to hear. And all the best to you, Dave. Hope you get well soon, but that's why we're a little bit late, a few minutes late getting on the air for today's show. We are going to dig deep into Super Bowl, Super Bowl LVI. Now go back into your grade school when you learned useless things like Roman numerals. And I guess, Roman numerals aren't useless. I mean, we use them for the Super Bowl. So for football fans, Roman numerals have come in handy. LVI, Super Bowl 56. And between the Los Angeles Rams, who I think we all kind of expected to be at this spot at this time, and the Cincinnati Bengals, who pretty much nobody except for Cincinnati Bengals fans expected to be in this spot at this time. So it should be a good game. I'm looking forward to a really good game, and we're going to dig into it first. Want to mention our sponsor is Prize Picks. And if you go to Prize Picks today, go to their site for the Super Bowl, they have all kinds of different options for today. But they match up to $100 of your first deposit. So $100 free money. Download the Prize Picks app. Fantasy gaming, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot where sports are going to. And use the promo code ASU, Atlanta Sports Unlimited, so that they know that you came from us and that we were the ones who steered you to their site. But let's dig into the Super Bowl. And believe me, if you have comments, questions, anything you want to add to the show today, being here kind of on my own, then, I am willing to let's engage. Let's talk about the game. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I have a lot of things to say about the game, looking into it. I've done some digging into the game and into some of the details, what we're probably going to see, what we're not going to see. And let's start doing that right now. Each team has gotten to the Super Bowl in a little bit different manner. The Rams were kind of all in for this season anyway. We knew that at the start of the season when they made the Matthew Stafford trade. And you have to say it worked out for them because they are now in the Super Bowl. They made it. They made it to their home stadium, which was their goal all season. They started out strong. They started out 7-1, lost 3 straight to playoff teams after going 7-1. Lost to the Tennessee Titans, San Francisco 49ers, and Green Bay. Then they pounded the remainder of their schedule. So that's how the Rams got here. Lost to playoff teams, had some problems, but got themselves straightened out and got themselves back on the road to where they are now. The Bengals have been a little bit tougher to figure out this year. They were in a rut for a long time this season where they couldn't put a win streak longer than 2 games together. And very not easy to make the playoffs if you're not going to put together a win streak of more than 2 games. Then at week 15, it seemed like the team hit their stride. They won out. They lost their final game to the Cleveland Browns, but they weren't playing their number one. Joe Burrow was out. All their starters were taking a rest, taking a bye week to get ready for the following game against the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's pretty much how the Bengals got here at 10-7. which you don't normally see. You don't normally see a 10-7 team get this far. Well, actually, you don't see a 10-7 team get this far if you really want to think about it, because this is the first year of the 17-game schedule. We haven't had a 10-7 team. But, the equivalent, as far as win percentage is kind of what we're looking at. You don't really see that. I mean, the Rams, 12-5, that's not a shocker. Seeing a team that has won 12 games during the season make the Super Bowl. A little bit tougher, but the Bengals have been incredible in this postseason, and a lot of it, Joe Burrow has played some excellent football, played clutch football. He had to come back against the Raiders to beat Las Vegas. We're down. Well, no, they didn't come back. I'm sorry. They had to come back against the Kansas City Chiefs to get to this point, to get to the Super Bowl. I don't have Dave to straighten me out today. This is going to be rough. I'm going to be counting on you guys to straighten me out today. But the thing with the Chiefs is it was a little surprising because the Chiefs scored touchdowns on their first 3 possessions, wasted their possession before the half, should have gotten a score out of that, and it killed them their momentum for the game. Cincinnati made an adjustment at the half. I think we mentioned this last week, where Cincinnati defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo made a change at the half as far as how they were defending Patrick Mahomes, peeling off the left tackle into coverage, into short zone coverage, where Mahomes was completing a lot of passes and really confused Kansas City's offense when he started doing that. So, but the problem is, Anarumo is going to have he's going to have a couple of wrinkles in place for this Rams defense. He's had a couple of weeks to put it in place. The main problem is he can't wait till halftime this time to put to do what he wants to do, to make those adjustments. The Rams will bury the Bengals if Anarumo waits till halftime before he makes those adjustments. And of course, we got a long halftime too. And with Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and it's going to be an interesting halftime show. So, okay, not my music. I know I'm old. I can't help it. So Dr. Dre, I'm sorry. Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, and Snoop Dogg are going to do the halftime show. Should be an interesting halftime show. I'm going to watch it because I want to see what they do. I want to see those 3 together performing. And it sounds interesting to me. So I know a lot of people, my age are going to say, are you kidding? I don't want to see that. Yeah, I don't want to see them perform. But Snoop Dogg, come on. No, give it a chance. Watch it. Let's see what they do. They're interesting performers. You may not know their entire, what they sung, their good songs, their entire music catalog off the top of your head. Because as I say, I turned into my dad. That turned into a problem because I was never going to turn into my dad. And my dad stopped listening to music. Well, his musical taste kind of stopped at a certain age. And I was never going to do that. And it turns out I've done that. But I'm always willing to catch up, which is why I say, I'm interested in the Super Bowl halftime performance. But and it's going to be a longer halftime, going to give Anarumo some chances to make some changes, to make some adjustments. Very good at making halftime adjustments, but he can't wait for halftime in this game. He's going to have to do it right away. So let's look at kind of how these two teams have built themselves going into this game, because it's kind of a little bit different as far as how these teams have put themselves together. The Rams, of course, made some trades, traded a lot of their first rounds away to bring in players. Again, they sold out to get here now. Signed free agent Odell Beckham Jr. on the 12th of November. 1st of November, they traded their second-round pick in 2022 and 2022 third-round pick to the Broncos for Von Miller. Why they didn't trade a 2022 first-round pick is because their first-round picks went to the Detroit Lions to get Matthew Stafford, and of course traded Jared Goff to the Lions. So, and Matthew Stafford has been a big part of why we have the Rams in the playoffs this year. Stafford has shown a lot better performance in the playoffs than he has in the past with the Lions. He has a lot more weapons on his side than he did against the Lions. So always interesting but it's interesting that, the Rams sold out like that. They don't have first-round picks coming. As a matter of fact, the Rams haven't had a first-round pick since 2016, and that pick was Jared Goff. So they do have 7 first-round picks from other teams from around the NFL. So it's not like they don't have first-round picks on their roster. They've used their picks to get proven players from other rosters and plug them into what they do, which is a valid way. You can build a team that way. It's not easy. You can't build a team that's going to last, that's going to take you. It's not going to be a dynasty. Let's put it that way. Because they're older players. You're not getting them from, straight from out of college and drafting them and having a chance to evaluate them. These are already older, established players, might have one more contract left in them. We don't know. So let's see what happens with that. But basically on the Rams, they have 4 second-round picks on their roster, 8 third-round picks, 7 fourth-round picks, 2 fifth-round picks, 3 sixth-round, 6 seventh-round picks on the Rams roster. So that tells me that this is a team that really relies on their scouting, relies on their scouting to go deep, relies on their scouting to not worry about giving up those first-round picks and being able to go deeper into a draft and still get some quality on their team through the draft by trading away their first, second-round picks and getting some established players, some playmakers at different positions on defense and offense. So the Bengals, they have 32 draft picks on their roster. They have 3 first-round picks, which Joe Burrow has been one of the most important, and Jamar Chase, and just 2 fantastic first-round picks. Chase, Offensive Rookie of the Year this year, and you gotta congratulate him for that. He had a hell of a season. And by the way, after we get done looking at the Super Bowl, I do want to kind of look at the NFL honors a little bit and see what you think of those. See what you think about the Hall of Fame picks and get what you thought about some of the awards that were given out. But the Bengals have 3 first round, 6 second round, 4 third round picks. So it's 10 players. Second and third round is where you really want to build your depth on offense and defense. 5 fifth round picks, 6 sixth round picks, 4 seventh round, and 3 first rounders from other teams. 14 undrafted free agents on the Bengals. So built their team a little bit different than the way the Rams did, but it got both of them here. And I think we are about to introduce a guest for to join me on the show. So you don't have to listen to me rattle on for the next 45 minutes trying to fill time. Chris, you want to bring our guest in? All right. Mad Mike is here. All right. My God, we got a show now. I'm telling you.
I had to do my Randy Orton page. I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I got to do my Randy Orton page.
Okay. Oh, man. But, kind of what I covered a little bit earlier is how both teams got here as far as during the season. And kind of the makeup of these teams as far as draft picks and trades and undrafted free agents. And, the Rams are where we expected them to be. I mean, we knew the Rams were coming in looking for the Super Bowl this year. What do you think about a team that sells out but still, is able to get their results, get where they want to go this season?
Well, as far as the Rams, or just both
as far as the Rams. Because the Rams are the ones who've really traded all their draft picks to try and build this team for this season. So,
I don't think they had a choice. I mean, you lost what 1-2 Super Bowls. The one I remember is obviously the Patriots against the Patriots.
Yeah,
that game could have went either way, but I don't think Jared Goff was the right draft choice as quarterback. But I don't think they had a choice. So you had to go all out because you have a great team, and obviously you want the quarterback was, the position, in my opinion, that kind of held them back from winning a championship. And that goes to show you, it's like no matter how much you you believe in a quarterback, whether he's young, I think Jared Goff, given the right scheme, he could be a serviceable quarterback, but chemistry is everything.
Yeah.
Chemistry is everything. And only the best quarterbacks know how to, Stafford just came in and did a magical job and just a terrific job just with his chemistry with each receiver. Like, I think that says more about him than the team itself, because like I said, it's difficult to find chemistry with quarterbacks. I mean, wide receiver and quarterbacks, and we know, being an Atlanta Falcon fan, as well as being Chicago Bears, we know that it's not easy with the quarterback and receiver chemistry.
Exactly. Yeah, finding that quarterback is just murder sometimes. And I think you're right. I think that, they did well getting Stafford. They traded away a lot of their future, but they did well getting Stafford to be able to make the Super Bowl this year. So, basically,
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it, but they had no choice given the circumstances that, they failed in the past. They had no choice.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So, now Stafford has been in the championship game. Stafford was outstanding. 31 of 45, 337 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception that almost cost the Rams dearly. But and what I always say is, Matthew Stafford is always going to, I see Matthew Stafford twice a year. And Matthew Stafford's going to give you that interception sometimes. He's going to make that. He's got this gunslinger mentality, but he doesn't have the talent to be a gunslinger.
All right.
Burrow, for what they did against the Chiefs, I'm a little surprised. Burrow really didn't put together the game that everybody, kind of thought. He was 23 of 38, 250 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. So not a bad game, and he drove the Bengals when they needed it. But, not necessarily turning the world on fire like we'd seen a couple of games this year. a couple of things that I've been reading up about this game and want to get your opinion. The Bengals offensive line, we know the Rams defense is going to have a heck of a time on this offensive line. How do the Bengals combat that? What do they do? How do they manage to get out of this without Joe Burrow getting killed by Aaron Donald?
Terrence Matthews once told me a story about the Super Bowl. Dan Reeves, he stated that they got to the Super Bowl. They had the game plan, this exact same game plan, pretty much all year, and then they get to the Super Bowl and they changed everything. They just switched up everything, and it didn't work out for them. Long story short, it didn't work out. It was just the wrong game plan, and I say that to say this. I don't think you come out passing. I know you want to go with what got you there, but we did the exact same thing with the Falcons again in 2016.
Yeah.
We came with the exact same game plan. We were aggressive, and that fourth quarter aggressiveness obviously didn't go our way.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Falcons kind of went back into a shell in the fourth quarter, and it killed them because they had the game in control, and it was frustrating to watch. I know it was more frustrating for you,
and it was. I'm just like, why won't you just control the clock, run the ball, and win the game? And I think honestly, since their offensive line isn't as good, especially as in pass protection, they must feed the beast. And the running back, I don't know why his name escapes me right now, but
Joe Mixon.
That dude Mixon. I don't know why I want to say Travis Minor. I have no idea why I want to say Travis. That's an old. That's an old.
Hey, Mike, but I do that myself, and I always have Dave to kind of get me out of those.
I don't know why Travis Minor came.
And I always tell Dave that, it's coming for you. One of these days, at least it's going to happen. So.
Right. But Mixon is a great back, and if I were the Bengals, I would start off seeing if you can run the ball, because you have Aaron Donald as well as Von Miller. Those guys, when they get in a rhythm, a pass rush rhythm, they're gonna be hell. So I'm feeding Mixon. I'm feeding Mixon. Try to get into a rhythm, slowly bring Burrow, because I know Burrow is gonna be a little nervous in the Super Bowl. This is one of the biggest games of his career, in his young career.
He's trying to play it cool.
He is cool.
He's been playing it cool all week.
And I look, I believe in the kid. I actually like him. I didn't expect him to be this good, this fast, but this is the Super Bowl.
Yes, I know.
Things change.
Mixon gained 88 yards against the Chiefs last week. So played a big part in that comeback against the Chiefs. Not last week, 2 weeks ago. As I say, these things happen. And normally I have Dave to straighten me out and get me back on track.
Look, I typically don't host a lot of our shows. Kevin is the one that really, because I'm scatterbrained a lot of times. So hosting is not necessarily my strong suit. So trust me, I get it. I get it.
The Bengals, I know they're going to need Joe Mixon to come through. I've seen some prop bets that said Joe Mixon for over 5 receptions and a certain number of carries. I think anything over on Joe Mixon is going to come through because, yeah, I think he's going to have to handle the ball quite a bit in this game.
Right.
But you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, these are your deep weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem for Cincinnati is going to be getting them involved in this game and finding a way to loosen up that Los Angeles front a little bit. So, and
I'm
Jamar
not a fan
Chase,
of the RPO, but I think we're going to see a lot of RPO. I'm not a fan of the RPO, but I think that's the way to go in this game, to try to loosen up the defense, to try to see, take advantage of the holes in the defense.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that Cincinnati does better, Cincinnati has a better advantage than the Rams, is Burrow can run better. Burrow's more mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford is not at the point in his career where he can make much happen on his, with his legs.
Right. Right. We don't want him running.
Don't want him running. One thing that kind of disturbed me last week, and I don't know if it was just looking at the Rams defense, they did not get a lot of quarterback hits, did not get a lot of sacks rushing. It seems like the San Francisco 49ers offensive line kind of held them down. Mm-hmm. And what do you think that I don't know if Cincinnati can do the same thing. That's the problem. It was a huge advantage for the Rams is, they were able to hold Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and everybody in check and give Jimmy Garoppolo time. And Garoppolo, we all know, needs time. But it's going to be interesting to see because I think, Jamar Chase, offensive rookie of the year, just incredible season. I want to see how they manage to get the ball into his hands because he's going to be the difference maker. He gets a lot of yards after catch too.
Absolutely.
So, let's see. As far as offense, what do you think the Rams go? You think the Rams can do more on the ground, or you think that they're going to go directly through the air to with Stafford?
Did you give me a ticket?
Okay, we got you.
Jamar. Eesh. As far as Jamar Chase, that's difficult. That's difficult because you obviously have, in my opinion, and it pains me to say this, but the best corner in the game, and he's going to shadow him for the most part. I think Rams is going to shadow him, and the question is going to be whether or not Higgins, those guys can get open. If they can't get open, it's going to be a long game for Cincinnati.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a long game. So, that's difficult. That's
you're having
that's
problems.
I like both teams. I like both teams.
Cincinnati's going to win, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. I really this is the first time in a while I really don't know. Because the Rams they've been, as far as their pass defense, they've been up and down. Like Ramsey hasn't always played to that top tier level for me.
Right.
I believe he is a top corner, but he hasn't always, especially against the elite talent. We saw the game against the Bucks where Mike Evans was just Mike Evans. And he gave up a couple of big plays. So it's like I do like the Rams secondary. You have Weddle who's back.
Mm-hmm.
He's a veteran guy, so he's going to be in position to take certain things away. He's intelligent. He's going to use his, he's going to use his awareness. These guys are young, and they're. One thing I would say about the Bengals, they don't know any better. So that plays a part. They don't know any better. They're like, look, we're good. I don't think reality has set in for those guys yet. Reality hasn't set in. All right, yeah, we're still year 1, year 2, year 3. A lot of young guys are still in their, first 3 years or so. So they don't know any better. So that could play into their hands. But when you're going against Aaron Donald, he's just a difference maker. Like everything begins. He's just a difference maker.
And Von Miller's been there plenty of time. And Von Miller's got a Super Bowl MVP on the shelf. Mm-hmm. So,
if I'm Leonard Floyd, I believe Leonard Floyd is.
Leonard Floyd, yes.
Rotation. Those guys have a solid rotation. So it's like I said, it's. Whew.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd, former Bears first round draft pick.
Right. So, I was so mad when they took Leonard Floyd. I wanted Leonard Floyd so bad. I really wanted him.
Yeah. He's one of the 7 first round picks from other teams that the Rams have on their roster, which why I say it really doesn't matter as much that they've traded away a bunch of first round picks because they've gotten these established players. So they've done pretty well. I really don't know how to pick this game either. It's been a rough one. I've been looking at this game all week. And part of me is saying sentiment because these Bengals players have been fun to watch. Bengals team has been fun to watch. And so the sentiment in me says, wow, it would be fun to see the Bengals put up a big game and really give them a challenge. The sensible part of me says that the Rams are a better team. Right. So, hooray, Joe Cool is going. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, really?
Right.
Wow.
Chris is Bengals. Chris is looking for those Bengals to go. Oh, that's great. But you look at a guy like Joe Burrow. I mean, he put up incredible over 500 yards against the Ravens this season. He's put up over 400 yards against the Chiefs during the regular season. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of going downfield. So, and that's what gets me is I know he's not afraid of going downfield. Is he going to have the time to go downfield? That's kind of where the game hinges for me, and I don't know. I can't figure it out. So
this game could go either way. The Bengals, they have a nice solid up front. DJ Reader, Hendrickson, those guys have been playing awesome. So yeah, they this could come down. I really believe that this game could come down to the running game. If the Rams if they could get Cam Akers and Sony Michel cooking, I believe his name Perrine, as well as Mixon, if they could get those guys going, that will be the difference maker. Whoever runs the ball will, and I know that is so cliche in football, whoever runs the ball, but this is one of the games because you look at Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp is just amazing this year. That dude has.
Yes.
I don't know what his hands are made of, but good gosh, I wish I had those hands. But yeah, those guys have been amazing, man.
Yeah, they have. I mean, Cooper Kupp, offensive Player of the Year this year. So, I mean, just hell of a season. He's really benefited from having Stafford there instead of Goff. We've been able to really see what Cooper Kupp has. We've been able to see all his talent this year, not just not seeing him struggle, seeing them struggle to get the ball. He knows he's going to get the ball now, and that's a big difference with a quarterback. Your main guy knows he's going to get the ball. No matter where he is on the field, his quarterback's going to get him the ball, and it makes a huge difference. I think that's made a huge difference with Cooper Kupp having Matthew Stafford this season. So, but you do have Logan Wilson in the the Bengals secondary has done pretty well. Eli Apple's actually played fairly well for the Bengals in their secondary.
As hard as that is to believe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, and that's the thing. It's almost like you got to expect the best game out of a lot of people from the Bengals to see them win. Because as I say, if the Bengals can do this, the more ifs you throw into a game, the tougher it is to actually pick them to win. So I can throw a bunch of ifs into the game, and I still, to me, I see the Los Angeles Rams winning. And they're favored by 4, and I think that's a good number. And I think the only way the Bengals win, if they stay close enough, they can get an Evan McPherson field goal at the end of the game. So that's where I come down.
Wow, a field goal. Wow.
Well, wow. Evan McPherson's had a heck of a season.
He has. Wow. You said a field goal. Whew.
So I think if the Bengals are within a field goal at the end of the game, that's how they win. If they're not, this thing, the Chiefs almost got away from them. And as I say, they made a halftime adjustment on defense and shut the Chiefs down the rest of the way. They can't wait till halftime this time. They're going to have to make that adjustment quick. And I think it's going to be tough. Larry Orange, we got a prediction. Rams 31, Bengals 24 in overtime. Whoa. Man. Overtime rule, give it the overtime rule, take it away. Well, the overtime rule actually didn't play as big of a part for the Bengals as it did for the Bills, because the Bills never got the ball back. The Bengals didn't have the ball first. But they just made Patrick Mahomes look awful in overtime. Mahomes just threw 3 pathetic passes. One that Eli Apple should have intercepted if he had hands. I think we saw the hands that Eli Apple has. And the third one did get intercepted. But you're picking overtime, Larry. That's an interesting. That'll be a great game. I mean, that'll have everybody on the edge of their seats the entire game. I would love to see an overtime game. I know that Falcons fans don't even want to hear the word overtime.
Why do you have to? You didn't have to say that. You did not have to say that, Tom. How about now? I'm gonna have PTSD for the rest of the week.
Oh my. Sorry, Mike. Oh man.
Oh my goodness. I have not. Look, I'm not most fans. I'm not most Falcons fans. I've yet to see the Super Bowl. Every time I see, I just say to myself, Kyle Shanahan, why didn't you just kick the field? Run the ball, kick the field goal. Every time I think of that game, that's what I think. That's what I say. Make it a 2-score game. That's it.
Make it a 2-score game. Run the clock and make it a 2-score game. And Brady doesn't have the time to do what he did.
Right. Oh goodness.
No,
Even
that
in the Super
frustrates me
Bowl, the
every time.
49ers Super Bowl, I said the same thing. What is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, right. What are you doing? So it drives me nuts. And
Mhm.
I'm with you on that Falcon Super Bowl. Every time I think about it, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I can't
Mhm.
believe they did that. And for a while, they were talking about Dan Quinn being a head coach candidate here in Chicago.
Ooh.
um,
Look.
yeah. Uh, I I was hoping, man. I was keeping my fingers crossed that would not work out.
Ah.
Because I was really scared of that one, that they were going to bring Quinn here, but we ended up doing all right. We got Eberflus from the defensive coordinator from the Colts, and Ryan Poles looks like a really strong general manager. Nobody has a bad word to say about him around the league. So I'm looking forward to see what the Bears put together this year. But that's off season. That gives us time for the off season.
I like Eberflus. I saw a couple of games from him where I was like, yeah, he's a pretty good coach. I think that was a good hire.
So do I.
Offensively, offensively, you will obviously is always the problem in Chicago.
Yes.
But
well, they took Green Bay's quarterback coach to be the offensive coordinator.
Right.
So again, looks interesting. It looks like this could be an interesting combo. I like what I see.
I love the hire. I love the hire.
But I want to see what they do in the offseason now because you got to give Fields better support. You've got to give him better support because he got killed behind that offensive line last year. You got to do some things even if you don't improve the offensive line, you got to do some things play wise, scheme wise, to be able to keep him clean. Because you keep him clean, he's amazing.
Right.
And he's got an accurate arm. He can throw downfield. So that's what everybody kind of looks at the surface of what Justin Fields did last year, and I say, look at some of what he did within the offense that really wasn't built to his strength. And now let's go from there. So, and that's. And I think we get the same example. Offense built to the strength. He's sitting with us in the Super Bowl with Stafford and Burrow, two guys who have offenses that are built to do what they do best. And I'm a little surprised Burrow got this good this early.
I'm surprised. I did not see this. Obviously, there's going to be an adjustment period where the defense kind of figure out, how to. I mean, you saw it took. Maybe I think this is the first year where defense just kind of, figured out Patrick Mahomes. So it may be a couple of years before they figure out what his weaknesses are, how to attack them.
Right.
But he's gonna. At the moment, he doesn't get rattled. I think that's what I like most about him. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He's not the most accurate guy, but he just doesn't get rattled. That's what I like most about him.
Right. Exactly. I agree. Very cool-headed. It's amazing how much the AFC really has a lot of great quarterbacks coming up. With Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, you still have Mahomes. It's going to be nasty in the playoffs, trying to figure out who's going to come through in the playoffs when you got some really top line quarterbacks that are going to be out there facing playing each other for a while. we had Brady and Manning for the longest time. We're going to have 4 solid quarterbacks right now that I can see immediately at the top of my head that are going to be outstanding for a long time in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great.
Well, you brought up something, and I had a question.
Okay.
What about Doug Peterson in Jacksonville? Do you think he's the right quarterback for that? That's a difficult for. I didn't necessarily like the hire. I understood where they were going, but Doug Peterson he's an old school coach, and he doesn't take BS. It's either his way or no way.
Yeah, I think that Jacksonville locker room has got to get. You got to bring them back under control a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of got they lost a lot of cohesion under Urban Meyer and Urban Meyer. God, jeez.
Oh, that was a bad hire.
Whatever possessed them to make that hire? I don't get it. I never have gotten it. I think Peterson's going to be good for Lawrence. And that's the important thing right now. You need somebody who can get in this kid's head and get him turned around.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because you spent the first overall draft pick on this guy, and you basically wasted his rookie year with a coach that was he had no idea what the heck was going on. So I do want to see, I want to see Lawrence succeed, and maybe Peterson gives them. I mean, Peterson did well with Wentz for the first couple of years when he got Wentz.
He did.
If it weren't for Wentz, with the injury problems, that might have turned out a little bit different. But so I don't think Peterson's as bad a hire as some people do. Some of the things I've read. Because as I say, right now it's all about the quarterback there. It's all about getting that guy straightened out. So, Dan Quinn, assistant coach of the year. Did I read that right? Yes, you did, Larry Orange. You read that right. Dan Quinn was assistant coach of the year. And I think he's a good coach. He's a good coach as long as you keep him as coordinator. I do not want him.
Right. The guys love him. He's not good for the organization, and I mean organization in its entirety, because his players like to be a little bit, like to freelance. They don't like a lot of rules. Dan Quinn doesn't have a lot of rules. As long as you play hard, play well, he's going to let you do. And as an organization in its entirety, that's not good for the organization.
No,
like he's great for a defensive coordinator.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. It's terrible that those kind of coaches can't really succeed, because when Mark Trestman came into Chicago, he was kind of like, I'm treating my guys like adults. They will make decisions for the team like adults. They didn't, though. And the locker room got out of control. And it's unfortunate that happens with some coaches, that they want to treat you like you're an adult. You know what you need to do, but sometimes you do have to put your foot down occasionally.
Absolutely.
And that's always interesting to see. Take a look at the NFL honors real quick. And I want to go back. Actually, I want to go back to some of these prop bets that are coming up because we got the ridiculous prop bets. So I'm going to get your opinion on some of these prop bets. But first, we'll look at the NFL honors. Defensive Player of the Year, I don't think there was any doubt TJ Watt earned that.
Right.
The guy is just, on a team that really knew he was the weapon, and he still did a heck of a job. Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel. What do you think about that one?
I think that's absolute crap. I mean, just that team, like, come on, like we know that offense. The offense in itself, they have a pretty good defense, but what special did they do on the defensive side of the ball? They played solid ball, but they didn't really do anything spectacular to warrant, like I just his expertise is defense, but the strength of the team was offense.
But somehow they still ended up with the best record in the AFC. I don't know how they managed it.
Right.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that maybe, and maybe I'm a little biased saying this, but I as much as it pains me to say, I think Sean McVay deserved to have, to be the coach of the year. It's like the ups and downs, like they've had to tear their offense, defense, like they've had to bring in pieces throughout the entire year, and they still made it to this spot. So I actually think he should have won.
Yeah. And that's a tough thing because with football teams, it's not like a baseball team where you're bringing in somebody who, is going to add to your lineup, is a power hitter, but more of an individualized sport played as a team. Football is a team sport. And you have got to fit all these guys into your team and weave them into your team before and sometimes that's not easy to do because sometimes, your scheme, you got to adjust a little bit. And McVay's been able to do that. He did a great job at that. And that's another reason why I think maybe the Rams are better than the Bengals this year is I think McVay's a better coach. I think Zach Taylor sits on the ball too much. When he's got a lead, he's too conservative. And I do like Rams coach. Give me his name.
Sean McVay. I butcher his name every show. I for whatever reason I always lose track of it. Always. I'm bad with names.
I agree with you. I think McVay could have been a head coach because could have been coach of the year because
it's not easy. Both sides of the ball. They brought in Von Miller and he fit in perfectly. They brought in Odell Beckham after Robert Woods and they lost Cam Akers for the first couple games of the year. Like I said, I just thought he did a great job on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I agree. That's not an easy thing to do is keep bringing people in and plugging them in. So, and he did it well. One of the awards that I kind of had a problem with, and it's worthy, is the performance play of the year, the Tucker 66-yard field goal against the Lions. My problem with that, I know Dave had a problem with this too because he tweeted me during the award show. He actually should not have gotten that chance because that delay of game call, again, Lamar Jackson hiked the ball at least a second, 2 seconds after the play clock ran out. And the officials let it happen, let the play run. And that's how Tucker got in to that position to make that 66-yard field goal. Because the officials really blew that, really blew up those last couple, last 30 seconds of that game. So, and Dave, I'm with you. I wanted to bring that up in this show because I know that disturbed you too. So, what do you think about the Hall of Fame? Not guys who made it into the Hall of Fame.
Hated it. I hated it. I wanted Devin Hester in so bad. That really made me. I look. After I did not see Hester, I did not care about anybody else and that. I may sound like but Hester deserves. I don't think there's ever been a guy like that in the NFL.
There hasn't.
There was no reason why he shouldn't have made it.
Right.
No disrespect to Tony Baselli, all those guys.
Well, Tony
But
Baselli has earned it for a long time too.
He has. He was one of the most dominant tackles in
Yeah.
the league for quite some time.
And you knew that at some point, his career was cut short due to injury, but it was unfortunate. But he was one of the most dominant tackles in the league, and I don't know how it's taken him this long. I know you had Kevin Maue, Steve Hutchinson, Alan Faneca, all went in ahead of him, but I was glad to see Baselli get in. I was fine with Richard Seymour. I actually thought Richard Seymour would get in because I think he was a dominant.
You did bring that up. Yeah, you brought that
up. The main thing with me with Seymour, he doesn't have the counting stats, but he was all round a great player. What surprised me is none of the wide receivers went in, which Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, and Torrey Holt. I thought Torrey Holt should have gone in before Isaac Bruce because Torrey Holt, the best receiver on that Greatest Show on Turf team, was Torrey Holt.
Yeah,
and
I think he was the most. Yeah, he was the most explosive. Like I was most afraid of Torrey Holt than Isaac Bruce. Me personally.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams were, and that's why I'm surprised. But now the Hall of Fame has a logjam at wide receiver because now you have 3 wide receivers who are all worth going in. And, I don't know who's coming up in the 2023 class. But I did not think Sam Mills deserved to get in. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I don't see. He was a good player, but I don't think maybe that's a longevity, but I don't think he should have.
He was a good player. He was not a great player. He was a
good player. He wasn't great. That's
the same with Bryant Young. I had a problem with Bryant Young. He's a good player, but he wasn't great. I don't care how important these guys were to their teams. You were important to your team, but you got to be one of the best in the league. If you're not a Hall of Famer. But now you got a logjam at linebacker too, because you got DeMarcus Ware, Zach Thomas, who should have gone in a long time ago, and DeMarcus Ware, who was just a monster on the field, and Patrick Willis, who I always thought was one of the hardest hitting linebackers I've ever seen.
He did, yeah, right.
I loved Patrick Willis. I thought he was
old school middle linebacker. He was an old school middle linebacker.
I wrote about the hardest hitters in the league a few years ago. Unfortunately, the article's still not online. But he was my hardest hitter in the league, and I kind of concluded it saying, I've seen Butkus, I've seen Nitschke, I've seen, Singletary. I've seen a lot of great middle linebackers. Patrick Willis belongs in that group.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ray Lewis is one of those guys that has high praise for Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
But he retired early, and the selection committee does not like players who retire early.
Right.
So, I hated that, and I really was not happy with the way that the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I was happy Cliff Branch got in.
Yeah, he did.
Branch kind of redefined wide receiver. He really stretched the field. He was a guy, in an era where you didn't see many guys stretch the field. And he retired in the top 15 of receivers in stats, in a lot of his career stats. And he was ahead of a lot of Hall of Famers at that time. So, I was great to see Cliff Branch finally get in as a wide receiver. All right, we are going to look at some prop bets. I will run some of these prop bets by you. And just as we're getting into the prop bets, remember this show is brought to you by Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com. Go download their app. They will match up to $100 of your first deposit. And you got the Super Bowl coming up, and you would not believe how much stuff Prize Picks has on their site for the Super Bowl. you really need to sign up and take a look at Prize Picks for the Super Bowl. Use a code ASU. So Atlanta Sports Unlimited. It always cracks me up to see these prop bets, because you got on Prize Picks, you got longest gross punt yards, punts, time of possession allowed, field goals made, longest field goal. And then you go to some sites, and let me dig it up here. I had a few of them. Oh yeah,
I have no idea you can bet on so much, so many things.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Whether the coin toss comes up heads or tails, you can bet on that. The first rushing attempt, the favorite for first rushing attempt is Matthew Stafford. At least he's 2.5. Yeah, he's the favorite as far as will either team score 3 straight times? Yes or no? What do you think?
The teams will score 2 straight times.
3 straight times. 3 straight times.
3 straight times.
Yeah. If you bet yes, you have to bet $190 to win 100. If you bet no, you bet $100 and you win 170. So they think, they're putting their money on yes. First 6.5 minutes of the game, will a team score? Will a team score in the final 3.5 minutes of the game?
I don't know about the.
It's just amazing.
Not scoring in 6 minutes. Yeah, I don't think I'll take that bet.
Oh, it's amazing what you can get on these prop bets. It's hilarious. And now I've seen prop bets for Joe Mixon, saying that Joe Mixon's going to have the ball in his hand so much that you're going to want to take him on a prop bet. As far as rushing, as far as total yards. So if anybody's looking at Prize Picks, there is one for you. Pick that. Take Joe Mixon. Take a good look at Joe Mixon. Okay, we have run out of time, Mike. It's amazing. I thank you very much for coming on. I really do.
No problem, Tom.
It's been fantastic having you. Always fantastic to have you on the show.
Always.
Dave, get well soon. I know stomach flu is just murder.
Oh goodness,
Yeah.
that's what. Ooh,
That's
yeah,
what Dave
he's
has.
miserable.
Yeah, stomach flu.
He's miserable.
Oh God. So, do your best to get better, Dave. I know you hated missing the Super Bowl show. This is it. We're done here. We got no more football coming up.
This is the last. This is the last show for a minute. Last game for a minute.
Now then we got to start. All we got from now on is free agency, draft, and all that other stuff. That the NFL has made themselves a 365-day a year, 52-week, 365-day a year story. It's amazing how the NFL has done this. Nobody else has done it, and the NFL has made themselves a topic the entire year. But this is the last real game we get to talk about. Dave and I will be back next week, and we will break it all down for you. I know it's going to be 7 days after this. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to have some fun, I think, looking at the coaching hires, because all the coaching hires will be complete, and I know Dave's been wanting to talk about that too. So, Mike, great to have you, as I said.
Always.
Everybody, it's been great having you here with us, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Jackson Pickens, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 Central. Goodbye. Have a great week.
Mm-hmm.